Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant have been on the same team for 11 games. They're 7-4 in that time, having beaten good teams like the Bucks and Clippers and having blowouts over OKC and Miami. However, they have also lost to some of the NBA's worst teams, like the Wizards and Cleveland twice. What's the ceiling for this team? How will they stack up against bigs like Embiid and AD? Can Steve Nash implement a system to get the Nets to the finals? These questions will be answered on this installment of 5-Minute Analysis. First up, we gotta talk about the offense. The Nets are built around three isolation scorers with heavy doses of spacing by the likes of Joe Harris and Jeff Green. The advantage that the Nets have over other teams is that they can, theoretically, always have one of their stars on the floor at the same time, and can have two a lot of the time. This is where Steve Nash's coaching has to come into play, so that each star ends up with the right teammates on the floor with him. Harden will draw attention on his drives, and can use shooters like Joe Harris and Landry Shamet to get open threes. Kyrie needs a strong wing like Bruce Brown and a tough, rebounding center like Norvel Pelle, so that his defensive weakness don't get exposed. Durant would play best with a well-rounded lineup that wouldn't need him to be the best player on offense and defense. With the Nets' limited options in getting new players, they will need their bench to step up and play hard on both ends of the floor. This brings me to part 2, the depth chart. The Nets lost their two best role players for James Harden and were left with a mismatched lineup. They're devoid of power forwards, bench scoring, and a lack of strong defensive and rebounding presence. One man has already stepped up. Joe Harris is not only hitting 49% of his 7 attempted threes per game, but according to Raptor, which is an advanced analytic model, the Nets are 0.8 points better on defense when he is on the floor. In fact, he and Kevin Durant are the only players who are positive on both ends. Unfortunately, everyone else is playing poorly. DeAndre Jordan, Bruce Brown, Landry Shamet, and Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot are all negatives according to Raptor. Jeff Green is a negative on defense and just barely positive on offense with a plus 0.5 offensive Raptor. For the Nets to start winning, these guys need to play with more effort and energy. I could get into turnovers and defensive woes, but I think that those will be figured out in time. Rookie players have very high turnover numbers, and teams with rookie members, still trying to learn on the fly, turn the ball over a lot. However, if they don't figure out their turnover issues, the Nets will not win a championship. Toronto had 17 more shot attempts than the Nets in their last game, mainly due to Brooklyn's 18 turnovers. When the Raptors only won by 6, it is hard to believe that they would have won if they even had 5 more shot attempts. In terms of defense, Brooklyn needs to see consistent effort on par with their game against Milwaukee and LA, where their opponents shot 43 and 45% from the field respectively. So where do I see the Nets at the end of this season? It'll be hard to tell until I see them play the Lakers, but if they fix their problems, which they absolutely can by the way, turnovers and lackluster defense are a symptom of poor effort and synergy, not lack of skill necessarily. I see them as a strong contender to win the finals. If that doesn't happen, they're looking at a second-round exit. Regardless, thanks for watching. Keep pushing the pace. This is JB, signing off.